Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Zirfan and this video is brought to you by Mavio. Follow us on social media and let's connect and build together. So today we will be looking into the evaluation and regulation of CDS systems. Previously we talked about the implementation, the architecture and design and the whole pipeline of these systems and how these hook works and how our rules and logics work. But today we will be looking into the evaluation and regulation, and this is very important because in clinical data science, safety, security, and accuracy, these are highly prioritized and they are very important before we can deploy our app for clinical usage. So we will be navigating usability testing, regulatory hurdles, and legal responsibilities. So let's get into it. First, we have the usability testing methods. There are two types of usability testing methods of our applications, of our systems. The first one is the formal evaluation, which is systematic studies assessing if clinicians can navigate the tool effectively and safely. It can include think-aloud protocols and task completion metrics. Then there are the heuristic evaluations, which are comparing the interface against an established design principles, for example, the Nielsen heuristics. So in heuristic evaluation, we compare our interface, the interface of our system against an established design principles. And this helps us identify pain points before live clinical deployment of our systems. Then this slide shows the continuous improvement of short burst testing and refining, which allows for immediate remediation of real world clinical workflow obstacles. So in cycle one, the resolution of critical pain points. These are the cycles drawn against the resolution of critical pain points, and through short bursts of continuous testing and refining, we can resolve the critical pain points more efficiently. Then we have the deployment architectures. So we talked about EHR integration, that building standard tools that function within major EHR systems, for example, Epic and Cerner. So we talked about smart on FHIR, which helps us do this because our CDS hooks are active inside these EHR systems, right? They are triggered inside these EHR systems. So we want to integrate or we want to build tools that are seamlessly integrated and that can function seamlessly in these major EHR systems. And then there is a cloud logic, which is utilizing AWS Lambda and API gateway to host logic outside the core EHR. So this is about our knowledge base. It could be our machine learning models or a deterministic rule book. We host these logics on cloud outside of our core EHR structure. So we can utilize AWS Lambda or API gateway for serverless real-time processing. And these are the endpoints to which our data will be sent from the EHR and they work outside the EHR. Then we leverage open source platforms for deployment and resource limited clinical settings. Next, we have the regulatory landscape FDA. So, first of all, let's look at what SAMD, it is an identification of the software if it is legally a medical tool or not. Then the FDA 510K proving substantial equivalence to existing safe products. So these are the standards, the global standards aligning with CE mark requirements for European markets. So the FDA is a regulatory landscape and we have to work with these, and our software should be ticking all these boxes to be legally a medical tool. Then the regulatory sandbox pathways, testing innovation under relaxed rules with direct agency collaboration before full-scale deployment. So when our software is in test phase, it's not deployed, we can test in relaxed rules environment with direct agency collaboration before we can work with all these regulatory issues. Then the liability and accountability. So the legal gap is who is responsible for incorrect recommendations, the developer or the doctor. And to mitigate this risk, we need clear human in the loop protocols to ensure clinicians make the final decision, reducing the developer exposure. So basically, these system, the software that we are using. This is merely suggestions. These decisions are merely suggestions and alerts, and the final say will always be of the clinicians, which can reduce developer exposure. And we need a human in the loop. Data privacy and ethics. So then there is the concern of the patient's data and the HIPAA compliance, maintaining strict data use agreements and privacy constraints during real-time deployment, because we need to be compliant, or data need to be compliant with whatever the law is, if it is HIPAA or the European law or whatever. Then the safe harbor, ensuring de-identification of health records to avoid black box ethical pitfalls and biased treatment results. So we need the de-identification as well, because these are some privacy and ethical concerns about the data patient, about how the patient's data is used. Then this is the smart CDS hook implementation, which we talked about. First, the clinical action in EHR triggers the hook, and the data is extracted, the FHIR data retrieval is done, and that data is sent to an API endpoint or a machine learning model, and the computation is done. The cloud risk scoring generates some kind of alert card, and that alert card is sent to the clinician in the delivery phase. A real-time alert card is generated on the clinician's end. So this is how the whole workflow works. Digital trial safety, monitoring boards, establishing groups to oversee the safety of AI tools during clinical trials. So we cannot let these tools be fully autonomous, because we cannot trust them enough. The human oversight factor is very important. So we need monitoring boards for that, and automated detection using cloud backends like AWS Amplify to monitor for adverse events in real time. So we also need automated detection to check and monitor for adverse events in real time. Then the business case for the 2026 market scalability, investor readiness, pitching value through a clear regulatory path and scalability plan via AWS GCP hosting. So this is the business point of view, that we need to pitch through a clear regulatory pathway and a scalability. So the regulatory, it checks all the boxes, the legal boxes, and then the scalability through AWS or GCP hosting. Then the network expansion, transitioning from a single clinic pilots to hospital-wide network efficiently. So it's the scalability factor. This is the business case. And then the key takeaways from these lectures are user-centric success, that our system should, CDSS succeeds through high-quality data and intuitive, non-intrusive design. Then the regulatory alignment, it should be navigating FDA, SAMD, and 510K pathways is non-negotiable for clinical deployment. Then the liability protocol, maintaining human in the loop oversight, is essential for legal and ethical accountability. And then the scalable future from a business point of view, that a cloud native architecture enable rapid standardized growth across health networks. So this was all about the clinical decision support systems, and I hope it clears, everything is clear.